Still in the search for proving that aluminium is being added to fuel. Now it would appear that I've been looking at further research, as I always do, and it would appear that the biofuel industry is certainly one avenue that's being explored. That's biojet fuel and biodiesel. It's been explored to have aluminium nanoparticles in this fuel. Now I believe that's a normalization. It's a way to add aluminium to the fuel, whereas in the past it looks like indications were that they were adding it surreptitiously to facilitate the forming of contrails. That's the chemtrail theory. However, regardless if that is correct or not, we know that contrails do have a net warming effect on the climate. I even came across a recent document from 1966, a book actually, about weather and climate modification, indicating that it was well understood that contrails and persistent contrails and cirrus clouds would warm the environment up to 1.6 degrees centigrade of the surface temperature. So it was understood. So contrails are significant. Question here with this document is aluminium in jet fuels, or at least being researched to add into jet fuels? And it would look like the likelihood is yes. Okay, so I'm just making a copy of this document because I cannot join the research gate. I've tried to, but as I'm an amateur independent researcher, I don't qualify, which is rather frustrating because the information is freely available, but only if you qualify, which is a shame because I think that unfortunately it is left to amateur researchers to try and gather as much information as possible to find out what's actually happening. So this is an examination of Jet A1 fuel. Jet A1 fuel is important because most commercial aircraft are using this fuel. So this test has been from 1999 to 2009, which is interesting, isn't it? Because that's the period we were concerned about at the beginning of the all these extra contrails. So where there's always been contrails around, but the question is, are they deliberately nucleated? Let me see what else is on this before I get to. Okay, no. Let's go back to where I was. And here, look. So the dates covered is from October 1999 to 30th of September 2009. This is this aerospace fuels research. And what am I specifically looking for? I'm looking for references to aluminium nanoparticles. And some people might say, well, I don't see anything yet. Well, here we go. Let's just see. And look, there we go. Got an aircraft there as well, DC-8, being used as part of the testing. So let's have a look at the references they were using. And these are obviously research papers that individually need to be analysed and researched. Are there any references to aluminium nanoparticles? There is the first one I've noticed, even in the title. air stable and size selective aluminium core shell nanoparticles, capping and passivation of aluminium nanoparticles. That name, Langmuir, certainly is a descendant of the Langmuir that was involved in the 1947 to 1952 Project Cirrus for General Electric weather modification programs involving cloud seeding. I bet that's his granddad or his dad, although I don't know that. Templated synthesis of aluminium nanoparticles, a new route to stable energetic materials. Spontaneous hydrogen generation from organic capped aluminium nanoparticles and water. So there are references to aluminium nanoparticles, and the search goes on. Because unfortunately we don't get the assistance from the experts in the establishment who are working alongside with the governments who fund them, of course. So here's another quick one just before I finish this up. This was a nano-sized aluminium altered immune function. This was an investigation into the effects of aluminium nanoparticles and the likely route with which they would get to the human body. And in the opening abstract it says here, on the basis of their uses in jet fuels, the most and munitions, the most likely scenario for aluminium nanoparticle exposure is inhalation. So there you go. They're saying the basis of their uses, that's present tense, in jet fuels. Okay, so we keep searching. Why is aluminium nanoparticles, apart from the damaging health impacts, they also facilitate the evolution of a contrail. They are helping to provide the cloud condensation nuclei, plus the ionic effects to create a contrail. And of course they have the contrail suppressant, sorry, that's the wrong one. I'm looking at a combustor having plasma generated nozzle. This is important for stimulating, catalyzing particular ions necessary. This is all for the formation of contrails. The bottom line is, my friends, contrails are being used. They're sometimes chemically nucleated, they're sometimes nucleated with other methods. If you put in anything extra in to the fuel that will have a known effect to create a contrail, then you know it's artificially nucleated. And these will have an effect on the weather. And I'm just going to show you something quickly, if I can find this easily. What I have found here is evidence that back in 1966, the research that was being done at the time indicated they were looking for ways to deliberately modify the weather and climate. And here, here is a 784 page report, and it says here that weather modification, it says it can use jet engines. Okay, now that's not actually what I wanted to show you. This is what I wanted to show you. This is evidence that they knew that essentially aircraft would warm the environment by 1.6 degrees centigrade. I doubt many people can read that. Let's see if I can get it up. Okay. In